A very good afternoon to all the students who are present today for the online lecture of second year BCom semester 3 for the subject Business Administration. I warmly welcome one and all. Now we have been attending number of lectures in business administration and we have discussed and completed the first two chapters pertaining to Unit 1. That is to say, we have talked on the first part being human resource management. We understood all about HRM, its characteristics, advantages, the scope or the functions of human resource management, also the difference between HRM and personnel management. We also discussed on the second part that you see above that talks on EHRM, that was your electronic human resource management. In chapter number 2, we have discussed about EHRM, its characteristics. We also discussed about the EHR activities. To name a few, it was your e-recruitment. So we have studied the different guidelines pertaining to e-recruitment as to how online recruitment can take place. In the previous lecture, we also discussed about e-selection. We have discussed the entire process of online selection in detail as to how the company designs the recruitment page on its website. The applications are received online tests are conducted, online interviews are taken, and ultimately the one who is successful in the same would be getting the e-offer letter and thereby would be placed in the organization. We also discussed about the third EHR activity, that was your online training or what we call e-training. So we have discussed different ways and means how training can be given to the employees online and by the electronic means. We have understood its merits and demerits, with which we had completed with the second part or the second chapter also of Unit 1 in the previous lecture, that was your EHRM. Today, we shall be beginning with the third, or I can say the final aspect of Unit 1 that talks on HRP, that is Human Resource Planning. But before we move on with the third chapter of Unit 1, there is a small quiz being put up in the video. So it would test your understanding as to how much have you understood from the first and the second chapter of Unit 1. So I would just be showing you the questions and try to answer them. Thereby, I would be showing you the correct answers. So the first question for you says, which is a modern philosophy of personnel management? We have done this in the first chapter. I hope you get the answer. If personnel management is an older concept, which is the modern concept of it? So students, the answer is human resource management. I hope you remember it. Question number 2 for you. Personnel management is dash in its nature. We had done this when I explained you the difference between HRM and personnel management. To give you a hint, HRM was proactive in nature. So can you guess what was personnel management in its nature? So the answer is curative in nature, because it would be curing the problems as and when they arise, unlike HRM, which was proactive in nature. Number 3 for you. I hope all know this answer. Web-based HRM is known as, that is to say, when you combine HRM with IT, Internet and technologies, what was it known? So the answer is EHRM, and the full form says Electronic Human Resource Management. The fourth question for you, students. Those students who have attended the lectures sincerely will be able to answer this question. What is the full form of HRIS? If you remember, we did this concept while understanding the characteristic of EHRM. that it is different from HRIS. But students, what was HRIS? So the answer is HRIS stands for Human Resource Information System. Moving on. Next question for you. The e-process of searching for prospective employees is known as, which is the online process of searching the people? So the answer is e-recruitment. When I'm searching, I'm actually recruiting. I have not selected up till now. Next for you, e-hiring the best candidate from the pool of e-applications is called. Now here we are hiring the people from those applications we have received. What is the process called? It is e-selection. The next question for you. Also, those who had attended the previous lecture where I explained you the process of e-selection, those students will be able to answer the question, what is the full form of KWS? That is a useful method of online screening. I had explained you online screening in the previous lecture. That is to say, how would you create a shortlist of the candidates out of the pool of applications that you have received. So there was one of the method used, but what was the full form of KWS? So it was keyword search. When we were searching out for some keywords based on which I can get a shortlist of candidates received. And the last but not the least question for you, an act of increasing the knowledge and the skills of an employee for doing a certain job by using web-based program is called as. You are increasing the knowledge and skill of employee, but by the online means. So what is the process known as? Yes, it is e-training. So I hope the questions might have tested your understanding and you might have again got a quick review of whatever you have done for chapter number 1, HRM, and chapter number 2, EHRM. So as I said, we would be beginning and discussing a bit on the third chapter of Unit 1, the third aspect of Unit 1 that talks on HRP. And as the full form says, it is Human Resource Planning. So we would be talking a bit on the same. We would be talking on the meaning of human resource planning. Also, what could be the characteristics of it. But before we jump on to the same, I would like you to have a quick glance at all the contents covered in the chapter. So you will be understanding with the meaning of human resource planning, the characteristics of human resource planning. There are some factors which are affecting human resource planning, the process or the procedure of human resource planning, which is a very detailed answer and yet very important. Lastly, you would be studying the advantages and the limitations of human resource planning. So the focus for today's lecture shall be to give you an understanding on human resource planning, what are its characteristics, and if time permits, we would also discuss something on the factors. So students, before I actually explain you the meaning of human resource planning, I want to test your knowledge on one word, that is planning. You have studied the term planning, you have heard about it even in the first year when you had studied about different functions of management. So students, when you hear the word planning, what is the first thing that is coming in your mind? What is your understanding of the term planning? Or is it that important to be done? So when I say planning, I would ask you as to whether you plan for the past, present, or the future. So the answer that you should give is planning is always done for future. Of course, we are doing the planning today at present, but we are planning for the future, and we plan because future is uncertain. You do not know what may happen or what may not happen in future. So to avoid those risks and uncertainties, you create a plan today. Of course, changes are bound to occur, but at least to minimize the same, we can plan at present. I can say that when you understood the functions of management, planning was the first and the foremost function that you had understood. So the same planning is required even for the human resource. So then the next question comes, why should we plan the human resource for our organization? Why not can we just recruit the human resource whenever we require or release them whenever they are not required? So this is not the case with human resource. You cannot do that. You cannot just leave the human resource requirements without making a plan for it. Because if you don't plan the human resource, meaning to say you do not plan the requirement of human resource, how many employees will be required in the organization if not planned, it will lead to either a situation of overstaffing or a situation of understaffing. Now, what is overstaffing and what is understaffing? When an organization has employees more than what is required, we are in need of 10 employees, but we have some 15 to 20 employees. It is overstaffing. And on the other hand, understaffing would be to have employees lesser than what is required. You are in need of 10 employees, but you have only 5 employees in your organization. It is a situation of understaffing. And let us be very clear that both of them, whether under or overstaffing, both would not help the business to achieve its goal. Think about a situation where business is suffering from understaffing. It does not have sufficient adequate number of employees. The goals would never be achieved. Or if they are achieved, it will take a lot of time, energy, maybe money also. But on the other hand, if you are having overstaffing, you have number of employees who are even not required by an organization, it would be again a very costly matter for the same. You are spending for their salary, for their wages, but on the other hand, they are not adding to the productivity of the organization. This is nothing but what you call in economics also disguised unemployment. So both the situations are not required, not welcomed by any organization whatsoever. And that goes without saying that we need to plan the human resource. When I say we are planning human resource, we are actually estimating the demand and the supply. We are estimating the manpower demand and the manpower supply as to how much manpower or human resources are required in the organization and how many are actually available in the same. Thereby, we can create a balance between the two. The supply has to meet with the demand. We neither want to go in excess or nor we want to go below the same. When I say that you have to estimate the manpower demand and estimate the manpower supply, it is because there are a number of factors that tends to change them. It could be retirement of an employee being resigned from the organization, an employee who dies within the span of time, an employee who gets transferred. So all these things affects the labor turnover rate, because of which it becomes very much essential to decide or to estimate the manpower demand and the supply, thereby bringing both of them at a desirable balance. So I hope that you are clear with this discussion on human resource planning as to why the requirements of human resource has to be planned. Let us understand it more by one definition. So let us understand what we have discussed by a simple definition that is given by A.R. Smith. So he says that human resource planning involves, as I said, the projection of manpower demand, the projection of manpower supply, and thereby an action to bring supply and demand into a balance at a desirable level. You have to estimate the demand as to how many employees or human resource is required. You have to project the supply as to how many employees are actually available in the organization and thereby bringing both of them at a desirable level, because in either of the case we do not want overstaffing or understaffing. So I hope that you are clear with the meaning of HRP, that is human resource planning. We move on to the next topic that talks on the characteristics of human resource planning or different features that would emphasize human resource planning. So let us understand them one by one. The first characteristic that you see, very easy to understand, that human resource planning is a managerial function. When I say that it is a managerial function, it is a function that has to be performed by the management. It is a function that is to be performed by the human resource manager. He has to plan, he has to decide the manpower demand, the manpower supply, bringing both of them to a balance. And after having done that, he has to make sure that the human resources available in the organization are optimally utilized. He has to combine the efforts of human resources with all the other resources available in the organization so that the profits are maximized. Because I also told you in the first chapter that an organization may be having different factors of production. Let it say land, capital, any machinery, raw materials, but human resource is required to make the most of other resources as well. So the combination of both of them would be done by the manager, and thereby it is a managerial function. The next characteristic you see that human resource planning is all level activity. When I say all level activity, up till now we have been discussing human resource planning from the organization point of view. But human resource planning can also be done at the national level, at the company level, of course, and also at the factory level. When I say at the national level, the government has to plan even for providing maximum employment, so that economic planning has to be done where the best use of human resources is made and thereby giving the maximum employment to the people. At the company level, definitely human resource planning is done to meet with the manpower demand and supply. And at the factory level, also it is done for all the departments of the factory, whether it being the production department, the marketing department. Everywhere, human resource planning plays a very important role. The third characteristic you see, it is that human resource planning is beneficial to both the parties. Now, which are these two parties? So we are talking about human resource planning being beneficial not only to the organization, but also to the employees. When there is effective human resource planning done in the organization, by effective I mean that there is a balance between manpower demand, manpower supply. It will improve the profitability and the productivity of the organization, thereby reducing the costs as well, because they have sufficient and adequate number of human resources available every time to achieve the objectives. They are not suffering from the cases of understaffing or overstaffing. Secondly, it is also beneficial to the employees because not only they are given employment opportunities, but also they are given the jobs that suits best to their skills and abilities or aptitude. So it is beneficial to the employees not only financially but also psychologically. They get the best job, they get the employment, and also it is as per their skills. So it is beneficial to both the parties. With effective human resource planning, organization has enough resources to work towards the objective, and human resource also gets the job based on their skills. The fourth characteristic says that human resource planning is the top management's responsibility. When I say top management's responsibility, it is a task that is to be performed or is to be supported at large by the top level of management. Of course, we can say that the other aspects of human resource management, such as transfers, promotion, or training, can be assigned to the lower level management. But so far as the planning of human resource is concerned, it is always undertaken by the top level management. They would be estimating the manpower demand as to how many employees are required. They would be estimating the supply and thereby bridging the gap between the two. The fifth characteristic for you, human resource planning is done for all the grades of employees. That is, of course, a fact because human resource planning is not done just for few of the employees. It is done for each and every class of employee who is working in the organization, whether it be a lower level personnel, that is to say, maybe a clerk or an ordinary laborer, could be also the managerial staff, could be the departmental heads, could be the supervisors, could be the superiors, the foremen. So it is done for all the grades of employees because you might have heard that whatever is done in the organization, whichever objectives are achieved, it is due to the combined effort of all the employees. It is not just a one man task. So when everybody is involved in the achievement of objectives, even the human resource planning is to be done for every grade of employee whatsoever. So I hope that you are clear with these many characteristics of human resource planning, that it is performed by the management, it is performed at all the different levels, whether national, company or factory level, beneficial to both, that is the employees and the organization, done by the top level management, and lastly for all the grades of employees. Let us move ahead. The next characteristic for you, that human resource planning is a modern concept. Now, you have been studying this since the first chapter, that something that was narrow and that was an old philosophy was the personal management. But human resource management is a modern concept. So is the human resource planning. Earlier, it was believed that human resources or the laborers are just like one of the other factors of production, maybe land, capital, machinery, tools, and whatnot. So, neglecting the human resource planning was an older ideology. Today, human resource planning is considered as important as business planning itself. So, definitely, HRP is a modern concept where employees are given a status above than other factors of production and their planning is considered as of utmost importance. The next, so it includes all the aspects of personnel. Now, when I talk about the aspects of personnel, can you try and tell me what were the different aspects of personnel management or the human resource management? So you would say that it was acquiring the resources, maintaining the human resource, also developing them, promoting them, training them, transferring them, dismissing them at times also, and many more. So even when we talk about human resource planning, it covers all the different aspects of personnel, such as recruitment, selection, promotion, transfer, training, guidance, retirement, dismissal, etc. It is not only determining and recruiting the number of employees, but it would also be how their skills can be developed, how proper training can be given, how they can be promoted, and which employees should be promoted, how the right job has to be given to the right employee with the right skills. So, all the other aspects of personnel are also included in human resource planning. We may say that human resource planning is just estimating the manpower demand and manpower supply, but in general, there are a number of other aspects also included to it. Thereby, human resource planning is planning done for long term as well as the short term objectives of organization. There could be some long term objectives of an organization, but there could also be some short term objectives. Human resource and their efforts are required for both of them. We may not just plan the human resource requirement only for the long term plans of the organization, because ultimately the plans have to be laid down in such a manner that even the short term plans are achieved. So the human resource requirement has to be planned not only for the long term but for the short term objectives as well. You may plan the requirement of human resource for the long term objective, but you plan the requirement in such a manner that along with the long term, the short term requirements are also sufficed. The same employees working for the long term objective can help achieve the short term objectives as well. I hope you are clear. And the last but not the least characteristic of human resource planning is that it is beneficial to the society also at large. Now, this is something, a circular chain that you have to understand. I would be giving you the situation and you can answer how the society is benefited. When I say that an organization undergoes effective human resource planning, that is to say, it is estimating the manpower supply, the manpower demand, and it is bringing them to a balance. So, definitely the productivity will increase, the cost will be reduced, the profitability will be increased. Secondly, if human resource planning is undertaken, even the human resources would get maximum employment. So, when in an economy there is enough employment, the companies are flourishing in terms of their productivity and profitability, ultimately the society at large will also be benefited, because with maximum production, maximum employment, even the standard of living of the people has to be raised. Their lifestyle, their purchasing power, the consumption expenditure tends to increase. With the increase in income, that is again a result of profitability of organization. So everything you can say is interconnected over here. So not only the organization, not only the human resource, but also the society at large gets benefited, because ultimately both of them are a part of the same society. So I hope you are clear with these characteristics. That is to say, human resource planning is a modern concept involving all the aspects of personnel, not just manpower demand and supply, planning for both long-term and the short-term objectives beneficial to the society. I think we can stop over here. Next lecture, you are going to study about the different factors that would be affecting the human resource planning. That is to say, what are the factors which would bring a change in the manpower demand and the manpower supply. So there would be some internal factors which are within the control of the organization, and there could also be some external factors that is not within the control of organization but will affect the human resource planning, or I can say the manpower requirement. So I hope that you are clear with whatever we discussed today. A quick overview. So you have been studying with the characteristics of human resource planning. You can have a quick look at all the points of characteristics. We have also understood the very meaning of human resource planning, where you need to remember two words as to estimating the manpower demand and supply, thereby bringing both of them at a desirable balance. Because, as I said, we neither want understaffing of employees, nor do we want a situation of overstaffing. So we have finished with the meaning of human resource planning with its characteristics. Next lecture, we would begin with understanding the factors affecting human resource planning. In case you have any doubts whatsoever, you may always post your doubts in the Google Classroom of your respective class, and I shall be answering to them at the earliest. Thank you so much for the day. You may start preparing your chapters as well, start learning the chapters, and for doubts always ask in the Google Classroom. Join the Google Classroom if you haven't joined yet, and until then, happy learning. Thank you for the day.